was not supposed to happen. The PP-19, not the Vityaz, not the stuff and things, Stizon, the PP-19 Bizon. Yes, that is right. This is a real US-made PP-19 Bizon, not a conversion kit. Nothing. It's not an AKV with an adapter. I know a lot of you probably think that's what this is. It is not. If you look, it is a properly sized handguard, an actual Bison magazine, and the receiver even has the cutout for the magazine. This is a real Bison. This is commercially available. This requires no special parts. This is 100% made in the US from a company called LM Ironworks. Now, I have tried to piece together a Bison forever, and I mean forever, okay? I started with the Chitin Defense Kit, never delivered. It's been 6 years and I still only have a receiver, a bolt, and a couple other parts. My money is somewhere, and I don't have a Bison. But, alas, LM Ironworks comes out of the woodwork, and they release, at SHOT Show I actually found this, the PP-19 Bizon. There's a couple quirks to this, a couple good things, a couple bad things, and we are going to show you if this thing is worth your cold hard cash because the price tag is very steep. That being said, they own the market on the Bison. There's no other Bison, so they can kind of charge whatever they want. But does that mean you're gonna buy it? Does it mean you're gonna buy on it? Does that get taken out too?
Yeah, it's getting taken.
Yeah, it's getting taken. We'll get into the price, we'll get into the quirks, we'll get into how it shoots right now. But before we get too far into this video, we have to thank our sponsors. Sponsors like Optics Planet. Optics Planet, why the heck are you not stocking the PKAS? Because then my viewers could use coupon code MICAHM and go pick up a Russian scope. We'll see if Optics Planet figures out a way to defeat those import restrictions. Good luck, Optics Planet. Second sponsor of the video is Americana Pipedream, Americana Pipedream Apparel. They are my boys. They give you the coupon code BUSSI to save on all sorts of military surplus. I love them. Get over there, browse their wares, and use the coupon code BUSSI. Used to be Bussin. Too many people forgot to type in the N. It ended up being BUSSI. Get over it. All the ammo that we're shooting are these little blue bastards from Badlands Ammo. See that? See that nice little blue round? Wow. Badlands Ammo, coupon code Micah. Let's get into the video. The PP-19 Bizon. There's really not a whole lot of things special about this, but it is special to me. I have been using the PP-19 Bizon in many of my tours in Modern Warfare, and I mean that literally in Modern Warfare. The Bison was like one of my favorite Call of Duty guns ever. It's been in Battlefields, it's been in Counter-Strike, it's been in Call of Duty. Everybody is familiar with the PP-19 Bizon. However, nobody actually has ever seen a real PP-19 Bizon because they aren't really in the US. They're not like real. They don't exist. I don't really know the history of the Bison other than the Russians really couldn't get it to work, and so they went with the PP-19 Vityaz, the one that we do have our hands on. I cannot get, I've tightened this all the way. We're done. Okay, just so we can get this, what the fuck? This is the Belomo PKAS optic. It stays on a lot of my other AKs. It does not stay on this one. We're ditching it. It's a bummer that that doesn't work because that was the optic that I used in Battlefield. So I really wanted it to complete the aesthetic of the gun, but honestly, the gun looks really good even without it. So the PP-19 Bizon, this one is chambered in 9mm. It's a snappy gun. It's just a blowback gun. There's nothing fancy going on here. There's no roller delay systems, nothing crazy. There's like a little rubber buffer there. Here we go. Yeah, There's really not anything fancy. So probably the boringest talking point of this gun is going to be how it shoots. It shoots like a blowback 9mm, like every blowback 9mm. I don't have much to say about it. It's not MP5 smooth. It's not a 3-gun gun. It's just like if you've ever shot a blowback 9mm, expect the recoil to be like that. And to be honest, I don't really care how this thing shoots because it's a Bison. I just care that I have a Bison. This particular gun is an extremely faithful reproduction. It's not a one-to-one clone, and it is made by LM Ironworks, who I mentioned earlier. You can see we have their little logo right there. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Is it like a tiger? Is it a squid? There's some kind of tentacles in there. Confirmed. LM Ironworks, tentacle guy. Big tentacle guy. As mentioned, LM Ironworks is an extremely, extremely small company. I think it's like 2 or 3 dudes running it. The dude's name is Taylor. I've gotten to know him pretty well. I met him at SHOT, I met him at Clash Bash. We've been talking on the phone about the project, and now I finally have it, okay? I did buy this. This price may make you click off the video. I get it. I spent $3,600 on this, okay? Woo! For a blowback 9mm. I'm telling you right now, I understand. That is a steep price. But the Bison is my favorite gun. Just like running it in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on Dome with rapid fire. Oh my God, insert a clip of that right here. I was willing to pay pretty much any amount of money for a Bison. I didn't care if this was $4,500. I probably still would have spent the money on it. My wife would have been pretty upset. Well, my wife already was pretty upset that I spent $3,600 on this. Could I do that with a Bison if I didn't have a Bison? No. We're gonna show you probably the worst part of this design right now. I don't want to shit on this gun too hard because I do understand how much work Taylor and LM Ironworks put into getting a Bison in the hands of the US market in general. It's a wildly hard thing to do. They worked very closely with AK Builder on the receivers and barrels and bolts and all these things. So they are using reputable manufacturers to make their parts. That's all fine and well. Some people might get turned off from the fact that this is from an airsoft company. I put a magnet to it. It's still steel. So an airsoft company modified their airsoft molds to make, stamped steel handguards for this Bison. That doesn't really bother me. I wouldn't consider it really an airsoft part. Like, it's still steel, but it is manufactured by an airsoft company. And when you're paying $3,600, you might hear that it was made by an airsoft company, and it might scare you away even more than the $3,600 already did. That's up to you. Got a little bit of flex, but it's stamped steel. Like, that's me really squeezing on it. It's a sturdy handguard. I don't have a lot to complain about it. The magazines, I've got a lot to complain about with the magazines. In fact, I have a bone to pick. They're the worst magazines I've ever used. I'm talking Pro Mag. Those are good magazines compared to this. It is a fully 3D printed mag. Now, before you you get super oh my gosh, that's terrible. The injection molded magazines are just not out yet. And anybody who does buy one of these Bisons does get shipped the final production run of magazines for free. You do not have to purchase them. This is just to get the gun in your hands and running. Not bolt hold open, it's just a malfunction. I really don't feed the last round reliably. You can kind of see here, it sits really loosely. The last round sits super loosely in there. Let's go to the loading portion of this. As seen in the intro, there's a cork with these magazines beyond the cork that you find out of the box. Notice I have some goon tape holding my rounds in there. We're gonna pull a box of 50 of these Badlands Jello shots. I had to do this 9 times. You guys are going to suffer through it with me. I don't care what the runtime of this video is. Start the timer, Dan. So look, boom, let's just say you put 50 rounds in this magazine and your hand kind of slips a little bit. Time to restart, bud. You thought you were gonna have a successful range day? Fuck you. How about fuck you, says LM Ironworks. Not to be too hard on Taylor. I had 4 mags. All 4 of them did this. That is the current state of my Bison. I understand that the injection molded magazines will be coming and that I currently just have to wait for these 3D printed mags to fuck off into the abyss. This is so scary, dude. Oh my gosh. Am I gonna lose all the, like 10 minutes of my life loading this thing right now? That's the fun game you get to play with this gun. If you're curious on how to load the PP-19 Bizon, there's 2 little pins right there. I could not imagine being in the, like, dude, imagine if they had gone with this instead of the Vityaz in the trenches of Ukraine. You're like, oh, blitz, blitz. Bullets are flying over, and you're just like, Suka. Anyway, boom. The mags have fed pretty reliably as far as feeding. Fed the last one too. All right, pause the camera, Dan. We're gonna go load for another 40 minutes. I made it look extremely difficult, but there is a lockout tab right here. So you can twist, push the lockout tab, slide in, but you always have to maintain pressure on the round or you're at risk of prematurely, what is this called? Unloading. I mean, that's what it is, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Now that we're done harping on the mags, let's just talk about the Bison and why it's so cool to us. If you are a gamer, the Bison is nostalgic. Dan, do you know what did you even know what a Bison was until this gun?
Oh yeah, dude.
You did?
Call of Duty back in the day, man.
That exactly. Everybody knows what the Bison is without ever having seen a Bison. And so to me, it's kind of one of those grail guns. It's so cool. The helical mag design just speaks so like Russian to me. Like Russia saw that the rest of the world, you know, the MP5 and all these other things are out there, and they're like, we need submachine gun. We make it different. We make it better. Victor and Vitaly and all these other Russians, they get their blue, white, and striped tank tops on. They sit down in the little room. And they're like, what do we do? Helical fed. And that's probably pretty damn accurate to how it actually went down.
Yeah, the only thing is you didn't talk about drinking vodka a lot.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of potato vodka involved as well. You can tell that this Bison, it very closely imitates the KP-9. That's because this gun is actually what birthed the PP-19 Vityaz, as we know it in the US, the KP-9 from KUSA. Clearly, all they did was, instead of have the cutout in the receiver, we just loaded the mag, and now you get to load for 10 minutes and then experience like 10 seconds of fun. So let's do that together. Actually, you can see this little notch spinning. So you can see that little notch spinning. That's feeding the rounds. That's the helical design. It's very cool. It's very unique. It's just a cool piece of machinery. Shoots like any blowback 9 until you have a malfunction that doesn't shoot at all. So, manual of arms, when I got the Bison, the first thing I did, I took the Bison out of the box and broke the magazine. Why'd I do that? I was dumb and I didn't quite understand like the right way to pull the magazine out. There's like this, you're gonna drop the mag because you're basically only holding it in with your pinky. I like to just flip the gun over, use my thumb and pull the magazine out, and then you have the whole mag in your hand. Now that doesn't work the same for reloading. So you can ditch your mag. This is a custom Bison rig, by the way, that was supplied to me by LM Ironworks. It's a prototype that I think he's working on selling along in conjunction with this, but we'll talk about that later. So you just thumbed your mag out, pull your new mag. I honestly think the easiest way is to just grab these magazines, line it up, wiggle, and smack it in. So boom, 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 magazine out, okay? And then ditch that one, new magazine. Not a speedy process. There's not really like a fun, it's definitely not an AR-15 where you're just like clicking buttons and it's all mechanically sound. This is definitely funky. What you guys are looking at now is the bottom of the Bison with no magazine inserted. You can see we have our barrel right there, open-ended handguard. We can even see the bottom of our front trunnion, and we can even see our bolt. Later, obviously, the PP-19 Vityaz, Russia probably looked at the rest of the world and was like, why they use long stick mag? because it worked. That's why the rest of the world used the stick magazines, and that's why Russia ended up closing off this portion of the receiver. There was no cutout, and that's where they added the magazine well on the PP-19 Bizon, and obviously a more traditional style AK handguard, all that good stuff. Hats off to Russia. I think they eventually did get the gun running, and funny enough, a little known fact, this gun was originally manufactured in 9x19, 9mm, 9x18 Makarov, and 7.62 Tokarev. I had no idea this gun was chambered in 7.62 Tokarev, but damn do I wish I had a 7.62 Tokarev PP-19 Bizon. It's a pretty spicy round for being a little pistol caliber. It's like a little mini rifle bullet, honestly. So I personally got my Bison in, I think he's going to do 9x18 as well. I got mine in 9x19 just so I can actually shoot it. Makes sense to me. One really cool thing is he is also working on not just a folding stock, but the top folder that you can see on like the airsoft versions. I'm not a fan of the top folder, but he is enough to make it. There are much bigger AK guys in the world than me. In fact, I'm pretty retarded when it comes to AKs, and when I go on Reddit, I actually just lose brain cells reading AK-47 subreddits, because according to the subreddits, there's not a single good US-made AK that exists ever. In fact, there's not even a good AK. They all suck if it's not the one that you like more than the other one. I happened to drink a little bit too much at Kalash Bash, and my friends peer pressured me into getting a flash art tattoo on my hand, which I promised my wife I would never get a hand tattoo. I'm sorry, Grace. There it is. Little AB, little OA. Boom, look at that. Little selector line. Whoa. Striking resemblance. Look how much of an AK guy I am. I'm really not that much of an AK guy. Like I said, I really just drank too much. I'm a poser. How lame is that? A lot of people think it's like a pregnancy test result or something, dude. Like, the dumbest tattoo I've gotten in my life. I always do these videos, and there's always that one guy in the comments who's like, what's the point of this? What problem does this solve? Nothing! It doesn't solve a single problem. It's just cool. Dude, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. You guys know me as the guy who mag dumps range trash. You know how much I could see myself 4 Miller Lights deep with 3 fully loaded 50-round magazines on a PP-19 Bizon mag dumping trash? It sounds like the greatest weekend I've ever had. Okay? Just like having a Bizon in my hands, just like, don't drink and shoot. It's actually really irresponsible. Now, front here, we have the muzzle device. I typically run all the guns on this channel suppressed because my hearing is already going bad with how much firing and guns and explosives, and my career has been full of loud noises at this point. Even when I was a mechanic, I probably started losing hearing. This gun, I chose not to run suppressed, specifically because I feel like a suppressor would ruin the aesthetics of this trumpet style, like Bizon muzzle device. I feel like it's a very key part of the Bizon for me. Unless there was some kind of clone Russian suppressor out there, I'm keeping that on. It's very cool. I like it a lot. That's also why I got this optic. It screams Battlefield to me. Isn't that just like, that's just it, man.
Yeah. Right off the video game.
That is going to be about it as far as the review of the Bizon. I don't know if this is really a review of the LM Ironworks and how well he did on the Bizon, more so than the Bizon as a whole, because a lot of the issues that LM Ironworks has to find and work around and run into are inherent issues that the Bizon already had, right? Like the Russians couldn't even get it to work that well, and that's why they ditched it and went to the PP-19 Bizon. So when someone takes this and tries to recreate it and all of a sudden like can't get it to feed reliably, well, yeah, that's about what the Bison should be. That being said, mine has fed pretty reliably for these being 3D printed magazines. I'm extremely hopeful for the injection molded magazines. I think that's going to make the gun, I'm speaking subjectively here, not objectively. For me, I don't think with these magazines, it's a $3,600 gun. I do think that with the injection molded mags, I would have been significantly more okay paying $3,600. That being said, the clientele's already out there. The people who are going to buy a Bizon are going to buy it. People who aren't and don't want to spend that kind of money on a gun that's just more of a collectible, they're not going to. I think LM Ironworks did a good job. I really think that he nailed the PP-19 Bizon. It's the first ever of its kind available in the United States, and that makes me extremely happy. But that is the LM Ironworks Bison. Thanks, guys.